guys, Brian Stevens here with the National Real Estate Post. I want to let you know this upcoming week we have Katie Sweeney, who is the president of AIM, and we're going to be having a conversation with her on That Broker Show, which is brought to you by Remen Wholesale. So make sure you check it out. Let's find out what the direction AIM is going for 2022 and hear it right from the top with Katie Sweeney, courtesy of Remen, the Real Estate Mortgage Network. Click this banner right over there and don't miss an episode. Okay, Zillow. All has been said, hasn't it? Now, yesterday on my show, I said I'm going to tell you something, divulge you something that nobody knows about, and it's going to change the landscape of the real estate industry. And man, I could totally sell this to you like I knew what was going on, but that would be a lie. Zillow here, listen, they screwed the pooch royally on this one. Over $500 billion is going to be written down. 7,000 properties are underwater in Arizona alone. 25% of its workforce is gone, and a 4-year pivot in their business modeling flushed right down the old loo, as the French would say. And I, for one, couldn't be happier. Couldn't happen to a better company. Now, if you want to hear more about this, check out my extended live recorded video blog-esque ings, whatever, on Facebook Live at the Frank Ray and Brian Stevens site. You can get there by clicking this down below. Now, here's my only question I got. What's the over-under on the time frame when Richard Barton is going to be canned as CEO of Zillow? I mean, step down from Zillow for a job well done so he can pursue other ventures. Yes, that's what's going to be said. Now, I say it's going to be November 8th, just right around the corner at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Let me know what your time is, and whoever is closest to this is going to win a banana yellow Lamborghini with a matching one-piece banana yellow spandex racing suit. Helmet, my friends, is not included, or for guys, a pair of rolled-up socks. Not included either. Now, let me know in the comments down below. On with something that nobody in the country is talking about once again. Yeah, we seem to do that a lot over here. Let's start. So, at the Climate Accord in Scotland, which is going on right now, John Kerry, who is currently serving as the first United States Special Presidential Envoy for Climate, better known as the Climate Czar, which is an interesting title because czars are basically known for being bloodthirsty, oppressive, overindulgent, supreme, and unquestioned rulers who give zero Fs for anything that didn't opulently reward their immediate inner circle, think Fabergé eggs people, when the rest were eating books because there was no food during the long, dark Russian winters. But I digress. John Kerry, the climate czar, said hundreds of billions of dollars will not cut it to fix the world's climate issues, that we're going to need trillions. Now, when asked where those trillions are going to come from, here's what he had to say.
Our office worked with the 6 largest banks in America: Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, State Street, Bank of America, and JP Morgan. They publicly stood up a number of months ago, wasn't much noticed, but they announced that they will, over the next 10 years, as a bottom, as a seal, as a floor, they will invest $4.16 trillion in this transition.
That's right. Climate czar Kerry said that we're going to get $4.16 trillion that's being pledged over the next 10 years from the 6 largest banks in the United States. Now, I'm really sure that they wanted to do that. But outside of that for a second here, let's think about what's going on here. Goldman Sachs has a market value, a market cap, total value for them of $140.5 billion. Morgan Stanley, $186.8 billion. Wells Fargo, $207.48 billion. Bank of America, $393.04 billion. State Street, $36.3 billion. And Chase, $506.7 billion. Now, when you add all of the collected values of all of the top 6 banks that Czar Kerry said is going to pledge $4.6 billion to support climate change, they're only collectively worth $1.47 trillion. That leaves them $2.6 trillion short for what they've pledged. And that's if all 6 banks signed over absolutely everything of value, including all of their cash that they had. They're still $2.6 trillion short of what Czar Kerry said they're pledging. Let's put this in perspective. Let's say Bob had $40,000 in equity in his house. He had $80,000 in his 401k, $10,000 between his checking and his savings, and $30,000 in miscellaneous value like jewelry, cars, boats, and all that other junk. Now that means Bob has a value, if he was to liquidate everything, of $160,000. Okay, are you following me? So let's say Bob then promised $350,000 $50,000 to Czar Kerry. We could reasonably assume that at best, Bob would be destitute, living on the streets, and would probably have to rob one of the aforementioned banks to meet his climate accord obligation. So, is this reasonable or even realistic? And the answer is obviously no. So, somebody in this whole story that I'm telling you earlier is lying. Is it the banks or is it Czar Kerry? To the point, much like what happened in 2008 after the crash, when Hank Paulson and Treasury Secretary Ben Bernanke, the Fed chief, literally forced upon threat that Bank of America and Ken Lewis buy Countrywide, and they forced them to also buy Merrill Lynch, which, by the way, side note, he was still fired and banned from serving in public office. Canned the dude. The Treasury Secretary and the Fed chief basically had him canned and forced him to buy the toxic assets of these two firms. So let's just say that type of arm twisting that happened back in 2008, well, we have a long, rich history of doing this, and it's happening again with our largest banks and Czar Kerry. And this, by the way, in extension, is affecting our source of mortgage money. Getting to the point here. See, arms are getting twisted by federal operatives to get our banks to fund and underwrite their partisan agendas. In this case, it's the climate accord. Now, I'm not pro or anti on the position here of the climate accord. It could really be any issue. It's not the point. If it's partisan and those in charge are forcing a private sector company through fear of retribution, and boy have we seen this in the banking sector in the past and the mortgage space in the past, to finance their agenda, I have a problem with it. The bigger problem for us little minions, right? You know, us inconsequential little tiny lemmings jumping off cliffs, is that the type of money, no matter what it is going to force these institutions to find a way to raise capital. And considering virtually all the source of money that all of us brokers and independent mortgage bankers use right now to fund mortgages is derived from these 6 banks that were just mentioned, these 6 institutions, I can only deduce that one channel to raise money is to raise rates, get better return, and create more valuable commodities. The problem is, if you follow this line of thinking from the point of its germination to the full blossom, it essentially ends with your clients paying more in interest on their mortgages to Czar Kerry to fund this agenda. Kind of crazy, isn't it? That, my friends, is happening right out of the horse's mouth. Food for thought. All right, guys, make it a great day. I'll see you again tomorrow. Real estate agents, go kick butt today because you've got Zillow on the ropes. Let's put them down for good.